Hello and welcome back to the deep dive. Today we are opening a file that sits right at the intersection of, cozy mystery and hard-boiled noir. But I have to tell you, it subverts both of those genres in a way that is, frankly, delightful and absolutely terrifying at the same time.
It really is. We are looking at a stack of documents, police reports, witness statements, and a very specific, very detailed timeline. And it all centers on the events of June 1989 in Sheboygan Bay, Wisconsin. And if you're picturing a quiet, cheese-eating lakeside town, you're only half right.
Yeah, that's the thing, isn't it? The placid surface hiding something much, much darker underneath. And I think we're going to be talking a lot about competence today. That seems to be the big theme running through all of this. Specifically, the hidden competence of women in a world that consistently, and I mean consistently, underestimates them.
That is the absolute core of this story. It's a collision of two worlds.
Yeah.
On one side, you have the invisible woman trope, the older lady, the grandmother figure that society just, looks right through. And on the other, you have the female professional in a completely male-dominated field fighting for every ounce of respect.
And both of them are operating in a system that's, designed to ignore them, or at least to sideline them.
Precisely. And they both use that underestimation to their advantage in very, very different ways.
Okay, so let's set the scene properly. It's Tuesday, June 13, 1989. It's a crisp, beautiful morning on the shores of Lake Michigan. You can almost smell the fresh water and the blooming flowers. And we are zooming in on a woman named Lorraine Highsmith.
Lorraine is our primary subject, and to the naked eye, she is the picture of a harmless retiree. She writes a satirical advice column for the Sheboygan Bay Chronicle. She drives a massive, wood-paneled station wagon she affectionately calls the Behemoth.
She sounds like everyone's aunt, the kind who pinches your cheek and, gives you a hard candy that's been in her purse for 3 years.
On the surface, 100%, yes. She takes immense pride in her rose bushes. They're prize-winning, in fact. So she's standing on her porch, coffee in hand, admiring her hard work and her, quote, immaculate expanse of lawn. And that is when she spots the anomaly.
The lawn ornament.
Exactly. But it's not a gnome. It's not a pink flamingo. It is a dead body.
Just there.
Just there.
Yeah.
A male, bald, wet, and this is the detail that tells you everything you need to know about Lorraine. He is physically blocking the spray pattern of her sprinkler system.
This is where the hook gets me every time. Because most people, right, you find a corpse on your grass, you scream, you panic, you call 911 immediately, you enter a state of shock.
Lorraine Highsmith. She lets out a very quiet, very annoyed sigh. She walks over to the sprinkler valve and turns it off. First things first. Doesn't want to waste water.
Of course not. Water bills are expensive.
Then she walks up to the body, gives him what the report calls a tactical toe nudge, just to confirm he's actually dead. And then she retreats to her porch, sips her coffee, and runs a cost-benefit analysis.
This is what I love. The deep dive mission for us really starts here. Because her internal monologue, which we have from some of her later journals, isn't panic. It's logistics. It's pure project management.
Right. It's a problem to be solved. So she runs 3 scenarios. Scenario A. Drag him to the backyard and bury him in the garden. She literally calculates the savings on fertilizer from Menards.
Menards. So those not in the Midwest, it's a big hardware store chain. So she's standing there looking at a human cadaver and thinking, free compost, that's a savings of what, $14.99?
It's practical, if nothing else, a very frugal mindset. Then she considers scenario B. Put him in the basement freezer and dispose him later. She even thinks maybe on a road trip to the Dakotas where there's plenty of open space.
The Dakotas being famous for having, more land than witnesses. It's a sound plan.
It is. And then there's scenario C, call the police. And the only reason she chooses scenario C is that digging a grave of the appropriate size would disturb the delicate root systems of her prized petunias.
So she calls the cops not out of civic duty, not out of horror, but to protect her landscaping.
Correct. Her flowers come first. And this establishes the central tension of our entire story. Lorraine Highsmith is not a normal grandmother, not even close. She is a retired associate of the Chicago outfit The Mob. She is in hiding.
She's a sleeper agent, essentially, or a retired asset living in a self-made witness protection program.
In a way, yes. Her file suggests she was an enforcer, or more accurately, a cleaner. She has a pulley system in her basement, specifically designed for moving heavy, inert bodies. She has an industrial-grade freezer next to the one for her frozen peas.
Wait, hold on. A pulley system, you don't just, pick that up at Sears. That's a custom job.
Yeah.
For a very specific purpose.
Oh, absolutely. It's bolted into the ceiling joists. This was planned. And she takes aerobics and lifts weights not for cardiovascular health, but to maintain the functional strength required for violence and, well, body disposal.
That recontextualizes the whole active senior lifestyle completely. You see an old lady power walking at the mall, you think, good for her. Lorraine power walks so she can drag a 200-pound man across a garage without pulling a muscle.
Exactly. So when she calls the police, she isn't looking for help. She is looking for information. She has one burning question. Is this dead guy a message from Chicago? Is her cover, after 30 years of peace and quiet, finally blown?
That is a terrifying motivation. Is this dead guy a receipt for something I did in 1959? It changes everything. This isn't just a random crime. For her, it's personal. It's a threat.
It raises the stakes immediately. This isn't just a domestic dispute gone wrong. This is professional. This is a message delivery. And she needs to know who sent it.
So let's look at the victim, the message itself, because he didn't just fall out of the sky. He has a backstory, too.
His name is Doug Rupp. He's a former Milwaukee cop, but he was disgraced, fired for harassment, a real piece of work by all accounts. So he pivoted to becoming a private investigator.
A PI found dead on a lawn. It's a classic setup, but the details are weird. They don't quite fit.
Very weird. The coroner's initial report says he drowned, water in the lungs. Yet he was found on Lorraine's very dry, very well-manicured lawn. No puddles, no signs of being dragged from the lake.
Okay, that's problem number one. How do you drown on dry land?
Exactly. And his hands were tied with nylon rope. And when the police, specifically our second protagonist, Detective Mike Zenoni, get into Rupp's car, which is this rusty Toyota Corolla parked a block away, they find what forensic psychologists would call a kill kit or a murder kit.
A murder kit. What exactly constitutes a kit like that? It sounds ominous.
It is. It's
Yeah.
a trunk full of suspicious items that, on their own, might be explainable. But together, no way. There's a shovel, a brand new tarp still in the packaging, climbing ropes, duct tape, zip ties.
Okay, that's not a camping trip.
Not unless you're a very specific kind of camper. But here is the detail that sticks with you, the one that tells the real story. There's a pair of work boots in the trunk, caked in mud. And they smell distinctly of pig manure.
Pig manure. Okay, pause on the manure. Why is that significant? Is he a farmer on the side?
Not at all. In organized crime circles, and specifically among cleaners, like Lorraine would have been, pigs are a known method of disposal. They're omnivores. They will eat anything. Bone, teeth, hair, everything. No body, no crime.
So Rupp wasn't just investigating people. He was potentially in the business of disappearing people.
That's the implication. He has a kit for kidnapping and disposal, which means Lorraine, the retired mob cleaner, finds an active and apparently not very good cleaner dead on her lawn.
It's like a professional rivalry from beyond the grave.
Exactly. It tells Lorraine that whoever sent this guy is serious. They sent a pro. And someone, maybe the pro's target, maybe someone else killed him first. The plot just thickened considerably.
Now, enter our second protagonist,
Yeah.
the law. Specifically, Detective Michaela Zenoni. But she goes by Mike.
Right. She goes by Mike to fit in. She's the only female detective on the Sheboygan Bay police force. She's described as tall, competent, observant, and constantly navigating a world of incompetence and sexism. She also drives a Great Dane named Zeus, which is a wonderful character detail. He takes up the entire passenger seat of her car.
So she's the one competent person in a sea of...
Well, let's talk about our boss. Let's talk about the chief. Chief Hans Schneider. Because this guy, he feels like a caricature, but we've all met a boss like this.
Schneider is the absolute archetype of the empty suit. All style, zero substance. He wears gold chains over his uniform. He polishes his badge until you can see your reflection in it. But he is practically demonstrably useless. There's a documented incident in the town lore, the one everyone whispers about, regarding a drug bust he completely botched.
Wow, the marijuana truck story. You have to tell this one.
It's incredible. So the story goes that he and his team once confiscated a truck literally full of marijuana plants, a huge bust. Instead of booking them into the evidence locker immediately, like any sane person would do.
What does he do? He drives the truck to the local high school.
Why? To like show the kids the dangers of drugs in a scared straight kind of way?
Ostensibly. Or perhaps to use the football team as free labor to unload it all. We don't really know his motivation. But here's the kicker. He left the truck unlocked and unattended in the high school parking lot during school hours.
No, you're kidding me.
And naturally, the marijuana was stolen back immediately. Within 15 minutes, the truck was empty. The evidence just vanished.
That is incredible incompetence. That is Hall of Fame level bad policing. You couldn't write that.
It sets the tone for the entire department.
Ugh.
So you have Schneider, who is sexist and image-obsessed. And then you have Detective Mike Zenoni, who is actually good at her job but is constantly undermined. She's fighting this uphill battle every single day just to be heard.
So you have this dynamic taking shape. Lorraine, the hyper-competent criminal operating outside the law, and Mike, the competent cop, shackled by an incompetent system.
And Lorraine knows how to play this system like a fiddle. She's a master manipulator. She shows up at the police station later that day with Kringle.
Okay, for our non-Midwestern listeners, let's unpack Kringle. It's a Danish pastry. It's huge, it's flaky, it's filled with fruit or nuts, oval-shaped, and very, very sugary.
It's basically currency in Wisconsin. You want a permit expedited, bring Kringle. You want to get out of a parking ticket, Kringle. Lorraine uses the Kringle as a Trojan horse. She gets into the chief's office, pretending to be a concerned citizen.
And he eats it up, literally and figuratively.
Oh, completely. She feeds him tips from her sources at the newspaper. She strokes his ego, tells him what a great job he's doing. And in exchange, he just accidentally leaks her details of the investigation. He can't help himself.
He probably thinks she's just a sweet old lady who likes police work, a little amateur sleuth.
Exactly. He sees the grandma mask, but Mike sees right through it from the very beginning.
Mike is the only one who clocks it. She's watching this interaction, and she sees Lorraine not as a sweet old lady, but as a shark in a cardigan. She suspects Lorraine knows way more than she's letting on.
And she's trying to keep Lorraine out of the investigation professionally. But at the same time, there's this part of her that's secretly admiring Lorraine's boldness. She's watching Lorraine play the chief like a violin and thinking, I wish I could do that.
It's like, I can't arrest her yet, but I kind of want to be her when I grow up.
A little bit, yeah. It's a very complicated dynamic.
So we have the players, we have the board. Now we need a target. Because Doug Rupp, our dead PI, was in town for a reason. Who was he investigating before he ended up as lawn decor?
All signs point to a man named Julian Baker.
Julian Baker. Local wealthy guy.
Wealthy, in air quotes.
Yeah.
The source of his money is vague. He has investments. He lives in this hideous modern house on the lakefront. Lorraine describes it as a cube of glass and wood that gives her a headache. It's everything she's not.
Of course she hates it. Lorraine likes roses and order and, classic design. Modern architecture probably offends her soul.
It offends her entire sensibility.
Yeah.
But the critical detail about Julian Baker isn't his house. It's his hand.
What about it?
He is missing a finger. His right pinky finger.
A whole finger just gone.
Just gone. Wrapped in a big clumsy bandage. He claims it was a kitchen accident. He says he was slicing vegetables and the knife slipped.
Does he look like a man who slices his own vegetables?
Lorraine points out in her notes that he absolutely does not. He looks like a man who has people to do that for him. And medically, a kitchen accident doesn't usually take a finger clean off in a way that requires that kind of bandaging without reattachment. It looks punitive. It looks like a message or a torture wound.
Someone took that finger as a warning. Pay up, or the next one is the thumb.
That's the immediate conclusion Lorraine jumps to. So, needing to know if this whole situation connects to her own safety, she decides she needs to see what this guy is up to. She starts her own surveillance operation.
And this leads to the motel snakeout.
Exactly. She gets in her behemoth and stakes out his glass cube of a house. She follows him, and he leads her to the Seabreeze Motel.
Which I'm guessing is not a 5-star establishment?
Not even close. It's a seedy, rundown spot on the edge of town. The kind of place where the ice machine is always broken, and Julian Baker isn't there for the ambiance. He's meeting his mistress.
Ah, of course.
A young woman named Carrie Ann Williams who works the register at the local gas station.
Okay, a classic noir setup. The wealthy guy, the young mistress, the seedy motel. You can see where this is going.
You think you can. But then the tone shifts violently. Lorraine is watching from the parking lot, just observing. She sees them come out of the room. They're arguing. It's heated. And Julian Baker, this big, wealthy, powerful man, raises his hand and attempts to hit Carrie Ann.
Oh, no.
Carrie Ann ducks it. She's quick and runs back into the room, slamming the door. But Lorraine has seen enough. This is a line for her. You don't hit women. Not on her watch.
The mama bear instinct comes out? Or maybe more accurately, the mob enforcer instinct.
It's the enforcer. This is the moment where we see the real Lorraine. The mask comes off completely. She gets out of her car, walks over, and just sits on the trunk of another car, waiting for him. a picture of calm patience.
And Baker, he doesn't know who he's dealing with. He just sees a nosy old lady.
Not a clue. He comes over, he's rude, he's dismissive. He makes the fatal mistake of insulting her. He tells her she looks like the ugly statue inside Marianne's frozen custard.
The ultimate insult in Sheboygan Bay. You do not insult the custard statue. It's a local landmark.
Is the line crossed? He then threatens her, tells her to mind her own business. So Lorraine, she just corrects the situation.
How? Does she pull a gun? A knife?
No. That would be too loud, too messy, too hard to explain. She reaches into her purse, and she has a syringe of digitalis.
Digitalis. That's heart medication, right? Derived from the foxglove plant.
Yes. In therapeutic doses, it regulates heartbeat. In high doses, it stops the heart cold. It mimics a massive, sudden coronary event. It is a cleaner's weapon. Very difficult to detect in an autopsy without a specific targeted toxicology screen, which a small-town coroner in 1989 is unlikely to run.
And she just uses it. Right there.
He's ranting at her. She stands up, and as she moves past him, she stabs him right in the love handle, the fleshy part of his side. It's quick, it's silent. He probably just thinks it's a pinch. Just boop, boop. A few moments later, he clutches his chest, gasps, and collapses. Fatal heart attack. Problem solved.
That is terrifyingly efficient. And cold.
Ruthlessly so. And then, because she is above all else a practical woman, she has a new problem. A body. So she pops the trunk of his own Corvette.
Oh, she uses his own car. That's bold.
Very bold. She stuffs his body into the trunk, gets in, and drives the Corvette back to her house. She backs it up to her garage, deploys her custom ramp and pulley system, and lowers Julian Baker into her basement freezer, right next to the frozen vegetables and a side of beef.
So just to recap the timeline here. On Tuesday morning, Lorraine finds a body on her lawn. By Wednesday night, she's investigating that murder, has committed a second murder, and is hiding that body in her basement. All while presumably still working on her advice column for the newspaper.
That is the beautiful, terrifying irony at the heart of this. She is investigating a murder to clear her name and ensure her safety while actively becoming a murderer again.
I love her. I know I shouldn't. She's a killer, but the competency is just, it's intoxicating. You have to respect the skill set.
It's hard not to admire the sheer capability. She's a force of nature.
So now we have two dead bodies. One known to the police, Rupp, and one cooling his heels, literally, in Lorraine's basement freezer, Baker. Let's talk about the official investigation. Because while Lorraine is playing Weekend at Bernie's with a Corvette, Mike Zenoni is actually doing good, solid police work.
She is, and it's a great contrast. While Lorraine is doing her shadow operations, Mike is following the procedural path. She gets a warrant and drives to Rupp's apartment in Milwaukee.
And what does she find there?
Well, the report uses her exact word.
Yeah.
A shithole. It's a mess. But she finds a few key things. First, and perhaps most memorably, she finds a cat.
The hell beast.
Yes. A violent, one-eyed cat that absolutely hates everyone and everything. Mike calls it the hell beast in her notes. And yet, because Mike is fundamentally a decent human being, she can't just leave it there. She rescues it.
I feel like this cat is my spirit animal, just pure, unadulterated rage in a tiny fur coat.
It fights her every step of the way. Scratches, hisses. A total nightmare. She tries to give it to Rupp's sister, Marjorie, but Marjorie takes one look at it and is like, no way, keep that thing. Huh. So now Mike, on top of everything else, is stuck with this demon cat. But more importantly, inside the apartment, she finds a chalkboard.
The classic evidence board. The string and thumbtack.
Exactly. Every PI has one, and it's covered in surveillance photos. Photos of Julian Baker, our man in the freezer. Photos of a guy named Craig Youngblood who owns a local ice cream shop. And bizarrely, photos of an emu farmer named John Hooper.
Wait, an emu farmer in Wisconsin.
We'll get to him. He's important. But the most crucial thing on this entire board is a single Post-it note stuck to the corner.
The sticky note, what does it say?
It reads, in all caps, drop LMP 6/1889. 11 p.m.
Ooh, a ticking clock. The classic trope.
A very real ticking clock. The date on the note is Sunday, June 18th. That's just a few days away. So Mike knows some kind of major transaction, a drop, is happening on Sunday night at 11 p.m. She just doesn't know what or where LMP is.
And while Mike is figuring this out, she gets a lead from a totally different case, right? The high school bust.
Yes, this is just good police work paying off. There's a drug bust at the high school. Mike arrests a young dealer named Josh Stanley. And this kid, under pressure, starts talking. He reveals he works for a mysterious pager number and never meets his boss. But he also reveals the rumors going around the local underworld that Julian Baker stole a massive amount of money from somebody big and that he's deeply involved in the drug trade.
So Baker isn't just a guy with vague investments. He's a drug runner who maybe got greedy.
That's the working theory that starts to form. Baker stole from the big boss, got caught, lost a finger as a warning, and was trying to negotiate a way out, or maybe just planning to run. That's probably why he was at the motel with his mistress, getting his affairs in order before skipping town.
But he didn't run because Lorraine intercepted him.
Exactly. But the police don't know that, which creates this massive confusion for Mike. Because she finds Baker's Corvette a day later, mysteriously moved from the motel and parked back on his residential street.
Which was Lorraine's doing. She's playing a shell game with a Corvette.
Right. Lorraine, in a moment of brilliant foresight, realized leaving the dead guy's car at the motel where he was meeting his mistress was a huge risk. So she rode her 10-speed bike there. At night, imagine this 60-something woman pedaling through the dark. Put the bike in the trunk of the Corvette.
Does a bike even fit in the trunk of a Corvette?
It's not well. The report notes fresh scratches on the interior paint of the trunk. She had to force it. Then she drove the Corvette back to Baker's neighborhood and parked it on the street to make it look like he came home and just left his car there.
That's next-level thinking. It just adds another layer of confusion for the police.
It drives Mike crazy. She's looking at this car thinking, if he came home, where is he? She questions Baker's wife, Charity, who is suspiciously indifferent about her husband's disappearance.
Probably because she's having an affair, too. This town sounds messy.
It's a very messy town. Everyone has a secret.
Meanwhile, Lorraine is running her own investigation parallel to all this, and she actually infiltrates Rupp's apartment, too, doesn't she? After Mike has been there.
Oh, she's even bolder than that. She sneaks in while Mike is there.
No way! That is an incredibly high-risk move.
It's a testament to her skills. Her tradecraft, as they'd say. She picks the lock, slips in, and here's Mike coming up the stairs. She hides behind the bathroom door. And while Mike is wrestling with the hell beast cat in the living room, Lorraine calmly snaps photos of the evidence board with a little spy camera and steals a pill bottle from the kitchen counter.
What's in the pill bottle?
That's what she wants to know. It's an unmarked bottle filled with white pills. Lorraine suspects it's not Tylenol. So, Lorraine being Lorraine, she decides to run a little field test. A bit of amateur pharmacology.
Please tell me she doesn't take the pills herself.
Oh no, she's much more pragmatic than that. She needs a guinea pig. She goes to a high-end hotel bar in Milwaukee. She scouts the room. She picks up a target, a businessman she dubs James in her notes. She judges him to be arrogant and expendable.
She drugs a random stranger. For science.
For investigation. It is incredibly dark. We can't lose sight of the fact that Lorraine is a dangerous, ruthless person. She flirts with him, gets him to buy her a drink, and when he's not looking, she slips one of the pills into his scotch.
Yeah. And what happens?
She watches him, he gets woozy, compliant, and the next day he'll have a big gap in his memory. She confirms it's a powerful sedative, a date rape drug, essentially. She now knows what the pills are, and she has a weapon.
That is ruthless. But terrifyingly effective. Now she has a tool to use for interrogations.
And she has a specific target in mind. The emu farmer.
Right. Let's talk about the emu farmer, John Hooper.
Lorraine drives out to his farm, and the scene is just bizarre. She finds Hooper in a field, chasing a full-grown emu with a pillowcase, trying to get it back in its pen.
As one does on a Thursday afternoon in Wisconsin.
It's pure chaos. Lorraine questions him about Rupp and Baker. Hooper claims he hasn't seen either of them recently. He's a terrible liar. Lorraine knows he's lying. She can smell it. And now that she has the sedative pills, she has a plan to get the truth out of him later. She's just biding her time.
Okay, so this web of small-town secrets is starting to unravel, but it's also getting more tangled. Let's just map out the connections here. We have Julian Baker cheating with Carrie Ann Williams, the gas station attendant. We have Julian's wife, Charity Baker, who is also implied to be having an affair and doesn't care that her husband is missing.
And then you have Craig Youngblood, the owner of the ice cream shop, Marianne's frozen custard.
The one with the ugly statue that got Julian Baker killed?
The very one.
Yeah.
It turns out Julian Baker spends a lot of time there, but according to the teenage employees Mike interviews, he never buys ice cream.
That is suspicious. Who goes to a Wisconsin custard shop and doesn't eat custard? It's practically a crime.
Exactly. It turns out Youngblood allows Baker to use the back office of the shop for business meetings, drug meetings, money meetings. He pretends it's just about them being fishing buddies, but both Lorraine and Mike see through that immediately.
So everyone on Rupp's evidence board is connected. The emu farmer, the ice cream man, the dead PI, and the missing but actually frozen wealthy guy. And they're all circling this Sunday night drop, LMP.
And Mike is the one putting these official pieces together. We have copies of her notes. She has her own chalkboard set up in her living room. She's sitting there with her dog, Zeus, just staring at this acronym. LMP. What is it? Who is it? And she realizes the stakes are huge. It's not just a local drug deal. It's about a large sum of stolen money. And there is a big boss involved.
A big boss, like from out of town?
Someone above Baker. Someone
Right.
from Milwaukee or Chicago, most likely. The person Baker stole from. The person who likely ordered Rupp's death as cleanup. The person who took Baker's finger as a warning.
So the timeline is, Baker stole from the big boss, got his finger cut off, hired Rupp to watch his back or find leverage, the big boss sent a killer to take care of Rupp, and Baker was about to run before Lorraine intercepted him.
That seems to be the most logical sequence of events. But the police don't know about Lorraine's interception. They just know their primary suspect, Baker, is gone.
And the tension is really starting to ratchet up between Mike and Lorraine, because Mike isn't stupid. She knows Lorraine is all over this.
She does. It's getting under her skin. So Mike does some real police work. She contacts the Rockford PDs and says where Lorraine claims to be from to run a background check.
And what did she find? A long sheet of mob connections.
That's what you'd expect. But what she finds is much, much spookier. She finds nothing.
Nothing.
Absolutely nothing. Zero records on a Lorraine Highsmith other than a marriage certificate to her late husband, Robert. No tax records before she moved to Sheboygan. No speeding tickets, no employment history, no property deeds, nothing.
Which is impossible. Everyone has a paper trail, even in 1989.
Exactly. It's suspiciously clean. Mike knows that nobody is that clean unless their file was deliberately wiped clean. It's a ghost profile. It screams professional.
And this all comes to a head in the standoff at the bakery. This is my favorite scene in the whole file.
It's a masterpiece of subtext. It's Friday morning, the town bakery, neutral ground. Lorraine is there having a muffin. Mike comes in for coffee. And there is this palpable tension in the air. But there's also this moment of shared humanity, weirdly enough.
Because of Jamie Sprout, the bakery clerk.
The clerk. He's described as handsome, but spectacularly dim-witted. And he's famous for making these unique dog biscuits.
The North Point Lighthouse biscuits.
Yes, the North Point Lighthouse being a local landmark.
Which are shaped unmistakably like a penis.
Let's just say they are phallic. It's
Yeah.
apparently unintentional on his part, but it's unforeseeable, and the whole town sort of snickers about it.
And Detective Mike Zenoni, tough as nails, has a massive crush on him.
A huge crush. She gets flustered. She stumbles over her words when she orders her coffee. She's a completely different person around him. And Lorraine sees all of it. She sits there watching, observing Mike losing her cool composure around this goofy guy.
It humanizes Mike for Lorraine. She sees a chink in the armor.
It does. And suddenly the dynamic shifts. Lorraine realizes Mike is just a person. She has weaknesses. She's vulnerable. And at the same time, Mike realizes Lorraine is watching her, analyzing her, even in this mundane setting. The game is always on.
They end up sharing a table. And it's like the law and the outlaw breaking muffins together, having this silent, psychic conversation.
It's a moment of what you might call mutual assured destruction, or maybe mutual respect. Mike's eyes are saying, I know you're up to something, and I'm going to find out what. And Lorraine's eyes are saying, I know you're smarter than everyone else here, but you will never, ever catch me.
So where does that leave us as we head toward the climax of the story, this Sunday night drop?
Well, Sunday is coming, fast. The LMP drop, that is the event everyone is racing toward.
Yeah.
The gravitational center of this whole mess.
Mike wants to be there to bust the drug ring and hopefully catch the big boss. But what does Lorraine want at this point?
Lorraine's motivation is still self-preservation. She needs to know who killed Rupp and dumped him on her lawn. If it's the big boss's crew, she needs to know if they're still in town. She needs to neutralize the threat to her quiet life. She wants to clean up all the loose ends herself.
And let's do a body count check. We have one on the lawn Rupp, confirmed dead. We have one in the freezer baker, confirmed dead, but only by Lorraine.
Correct. And we have a lot of loose ends, a lot of unanswered questions. The big one is, who actually killed Rupp? We're pretty sure it wasn't Baker. He was surprised by the news when Lorraine confronted him. We know it wasn't the emu farmer. He seemed genuinely shocked.
So there is a third party, a killer still out there, a different cleaner maybe, working for the big boss.
Exactly. A professional who succeeded where Rupp failed. And Lorraine needs to find them before they find her. Because if they're skilled enough to take out Rupp, who is a pro with a pygmidor kid in his trunk, they can definitely take out a 60-something-year-old widow.
Or so they would think. They don't know about the digitalis in her purse, or the weightlifting regimen, or the pulley system in the basement.
They have no idea who they're dealing with. And Mike, Mike is in a similar boat. She needs to intercept this major drug drop, recover what's likely millions in stolen money, and solve the Rupp murder. But she's doing it essentially alone, because her chief is an idiot who would probably leave the evidence truck unlocked again.
It's a three-way collision course. Mike, Lorraine, and this mysterious big boss.
And it all comes down to Sunday night at 11 p.m. at a place called LMP.
It really makes you look at the little old lady down the street differently, doesn't it?
It should. You never know what's in the basement freezer.
Or who she used to be in Chicago. So let's connect this to the bigger picture for you, the listener. Why does this story grab us, beyond just the fun of the murder and the mystery and the kringle?
I think it's that subversion of expectations we talked about at the start. We are culturally trained to see older women, grandmothers, as harmless, as nurturing, as background characters. Lorraine is the absolute opposite. She is a predator disguised as prey. She uses her age, her old lady aesthetic, the station wagon, the advice column, the sensible shoes, as the perfect camouflage.
It's active camouflage. It's a weapon.
It is. She knows you won't suspect her, so she can get away with anything. She can walk into a police station and manipulate the chief. She can drug a man in a bar. She can kill a guy in a parking lot. No one looks twice. And on the other side, you have Mike, a capable professional woman in a male-dominated field who is constantly underestimated because of her gender. Her peers ignore her insights. Her boss treats her like a secretary.
So both women are underestimated, just for different reasons. One uses it to solve crimes, the other uses it to commit them.
And that is the fascinating, blurred line at the center of it all. In a town where the law, in the form of Chief Schneider, is incompetent and corrupt, the outlaw, in the form of Lorraine, becomes the most effective force for a certain kind of order. I mean, think about it. She cleaned up the Julian Baker problem. He was an abuser and a criminal. She's actively investigating the Rupp problem. She is, in a twisted way, the only effective sheriff in Sheboygan Bay.
A sheriff who composts her suspects.
A very efficient form of governance, if you ask me. No paperwork.
So here is the final provocative thought for you, the listener, to take away from this. We often root for the detective. We want justice. We want the rules and the system to work. But in a town full of incompetent men, sexist police chiefs, and abusive criminals, is the little old lady with the poison muffins in the basement freezer actually the hero? Or is she just the most dangerous villain of them all?
That is the question, isn't it? And I think the answer might depend entirely on whether or not you're standing on her lawn.
Exactly. Stay off the grass, folks. Thanks for listening to this deep dive. We'll see you next time.